we've got a voicemail number. That number is 219-2-DAVID-P. The number is available 24 hours a day. You can call anytime. People do call at any time of day. Here's a voicemail that came in about Donald Trump's sort of space military that he wants to develop.
Hey, David, I was just calling in. Donald Trump has mentioned a couple times now this idea of a space force, and I just have to say that I think it's a fantastic idea. Think about how that will strengthen the idea of American exceptionalism if we have the first ever space force. Sure, we may have to allocate the entire discretionary budget to the military, but do we really need education or health care? Anyway, I just want to say that I think it's a great idea, and I wondered on just what your thoughts were on the space force. Thanks, David.
Yeah, we talked yesterday during my interview with David Weintraub about the concerns around the corporatization of space travel, or specifically of going to Mars. There's another element which is even worse, which is the militarization of space and space exploration. As we've talked about before, there's very little sort of legal infrastructure as to who owns stuff in space. There's something called like the Moon Treaty or something like that. I believe it's from the late 70s, and it attempts to outline sort of some parameters, but this is going to be a big deal. And I've talked about sort of waiting around gleefully for when we are able to capture an asteroid that is completely made of diamonds, and all of a sudden everybody on this planet who thinks they've got this really valuable diamond will realize, oh, wait a second, these things don't really have inherent value. Why did I spend 12 grand on this thing for getting engaged? I do look forward to that, but I am also very, very concerned about how quickly, anytime there are financial interests somewhere, you will have the use of force brought in to back up and protect those financial interests. So while I think it's nuts that Donald Trump's focus when it comes to space exploration does seem to be a space force, a space military, whether Trump brings it up or not, as soon as monetizing space really becomes a thing, defending those monetization resources is immediately going to become a thing, whether it's Trump who mentions it or not. So I think Trump is, of course, focused on the wrong thing when it comes to space, but there's a lot of people who are already thinking along these lines. We have a great bonus show for you today. John McCain has said he does not want Donald Trump at his funeral, according to what friends of his are telling the White House. We now have learned about an attorney general who is vowing to break up immigrant families that are crossing the border illegally. And we also are going to talk about Donald Trump urging West Virginia voters to vote against a former coal executive who went to prison. All of those stories and more are on today's bonus show, which you can access two ways. Number one, become a member at joinpakman.com. Number two, become a patron at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Both methods will give you instant access to the world famous bonus show. We will speak to you then.